We have some big news right now. The European Union is preparing a massive set of retaliatory tariffs targeting a number of American goods, making it more expensive for American businesses. The European Union will present a plan to members tomorrow that includes tariffing U.S. meat, U.S. cereal, U.S. wine, wood, clothing, chewing gum, dental floss, vacuum cleaners, and toilet paper. The European Union is preparing to tariff the United States and show a front-facing show of unity against the United States tomorrow. It would join Canada and China and other countries that have taken on the United States as a result of Donald Trump's tariffs. And this would almost certainly plunge the United States into a new trade war on a different front, this time with Europe. And that means things like chewing gum, dental floss, vacuum cleaners. I mean, all of this is going to get more expensive. It's going to get more expensive to produce. It's going to get more expensive to buy. It's all going to...
Hi, beautiful people. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for stopping by, supporting your girl on this channel. So all credits goes to the creators in these videos. So guys, Trump brings tariffs back. So let's talk about it. Trump is back on this tariff game, right? And he just imposed fresh round of tariffs as part of what he calls, in quotes, Liberation Day. So for those of you that don't know what tariffs are, taxes on imported goods, okay, and the goal is to make foreign products more expensive so people buy American-made stuff. That's the plan, right? I mean, it sounds patriotic, but the reality is that the truth is more complicated. So this time, 25% on imported cars, auto parts, and is also pushing for reciprocal tariffs. That is, if another country taxes the US goods, he wants to tax theirs just as hard. And Trump says that it will level the playing field. Do you think so? And it will bring back jobs to the United States. But the real question on everybody's lips is that, is this really helping the regular Americans, or this is hurting them? FAFO, right? Let's get into these videos and you see for yourself.
Figured out why Trump is so hell-bent on implementing tariffs. So currently, our tax system is like a stool with three legs, right? We have sales tax, property tax, and income tax. Trump wants to get rid of income tax and replace it with tariffs. But tariffs are just a sales tax. We know this already. With an income tax, the more income you make, the more percentage of taxes you pay. But with tariffs and sales tax, that's not the case. It is a regressive tax system. Now, let me give you an example. How many billionaires are there in the world? Like 100, 200? Well, when they go to McDonald's, they only order one Big Mac, right? And now with tariffs, that Big Mac is $20. Not a big deal. They can afford $20. How many middle and working class people are there in America? 100 million. We all go out and we can only buy one Big Mac too. 100 million people are buying one Big Mac for $20. Now that $20 Big Mac is way more expensive for us. Well, that's our new tax system. The mega wealthy don't want to pay taxes, and this is their way of doing it. And the entire tax burden will lie on the middle and lower class populations.
Almost 9:30, so I just want to explain what is going to happen, right? We all know that Trump announced his tariff plan, right? And for those of you who don't understand what a tariff is a tax on goods that come into America. So let's say toothpaste normally costs $100, right? A 25% tariff now makes that toothpaste that normally costs, I think I said $100 or $100 now costs $125, right? To offset the cost, companies then sell that toothpaste for $150 so that they can still make a profit on the product. This is why prices increase when tariffs are put into place, right? Now, not only has he increased the tariff that he originally put out, China has announced their 34% tariff on U.S. goods. Now, China ate with that one because the president has 34 felonies, 34% tariffs. They ate with that one. Now, what does that do to the stock market? When the cost of living becomes higher, people hold on to their money a lot tighter. People start to pull their money out of stocks because they know that money is not circulating as fast as it normally would in a situation where tariffs aren't a thing, right? So when the American people, they're not shopping, they're not spending money, people that do have money in the stock market start to sell off their stock because they do not want to lose money. As a matter of fact, most of them sell off their stocks early because they've been holding it for a long period of time, right? Now, what is about to happen at 9:30 is that people are panicking, not even panicking, they're scared, rightfully so, because who knows what the fuck else is going to happen. And as a result, we are going to see a buttload of people sell off stocks because they do not want to lose the amount of money they've already made, or they're cutting their losses short. Yes, the stock market and the Federal Reserve, they do have things in place to try to slow it down. Like, you'll start to see a delay in being able to sell off your stocks and things like that. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's called a circuit breaker. It has different levels where it'll delay your ability to sell off your stocks to make it not worse. But right now, everybody is predicting that the stock market is going to be worse than it was during the 2008 recession. What does that mean for you? If you are one of those people who don't have any stocks at all, this is a good time for you to buy stocks, because essentially what's happening is that the stock market is going through Black Friday, right? Stocks that are good stocks are going for a cheap ass price. So if you are one of those people who don't know nothing about stocks at all, this is the perfect time to buy stocks because you don't have nothing to lose. You don't have nothing to lose, and you're getting great stocks for a value price. Now, for those of you who already do have stocks, you have to determine what your stop loss level is. This is, okay, if this stock hits this price, this is when I'm going to sell off my stock. And that's going to be different for everybody, and it's going to determine by your own personal ability or what you feel comfortable with losing in the stock market. Nobody can answer that for you. This is your personal thing. So while this is good for some people, this is horrible for the older generation, especially the baby boomers, because they do not have 10, 20, 30 years to wait for the stock market to come back. So this is definitely a scary time. I know majority of my content today is really going to be me just talking about it because, again, you guys know I'm doing a stock market book club right now. I'm going to send that email out this morning and really trying to inform us, because I know a lot of Black people do not invest in the stock market. And unfortunately, while this is bad news for other people, this is good news for us that don't invest normally.
Donnie, why are we imposing these tariffs again? Can you explain that? Because actually, I don't think you can. You say it's going to bring back manufacturing jobs. You know, Donnie, lots and lots of experts in this field are telling us, well, that's not going to happen. First, Americans don't want those sometimes mind-numbing manufacturing jobs. And secondly, automation is going to keep increasing, meaning there won't be need for those kinds of jobs. And third, most Americans don't want to work in a factory anymore, Donnie. In other words, you're imposing these high taxes, which is what the tariffs are, on the American people under false, very false pretenses, Donnie. Even if you're partially right, it takes 2, 3, 5, 7 years for new plants to be built and brought up to speed. You do know that, Donnie, don't you? You claim to be a businessman, but Donnie, we see every day, you just don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Percent increase on iPhones is ridiculous. At this point, I'm just going to keep my 13 Pro Max. Next year, the iPhone Flip is going to come out. Typically, an iPhone is about $799 retail price. This phone is going to be about $2,500. $2,500 for a phone is a fucking ridiculous price. And if you're still here, I encourage you to check on your pension plans, preferably your 401k accounts, because the stock market has crashed. It is crashing. And while that crashes, so does your 401k account. So your retirement plans are dropping like flies at this point. And then people are also crashing out on here because the Nintendo Switch just announced that it's going to be released, and it's going to be priced higher than previous consoles that they have released. The games are going to be about $90 if you want a hardback copy game. That's how we know things are fucked up. When Nintendo raises their prices, everything's going to shit. Like, let's just admit it. Tariffs are hitting us left and right. Tariffs are across the globe right now. Every country is against the United States because of the tariff increase, because of the tariff taxes.
China put 67% tariffs on American goods while we only put 34%? You mean to tell me that all these countries are just ripping the United States off? Now, this graph may seem so crazy that it can't be true. And that's because it's not true. The White House released this chart saying that Trump is implementing reciprocal tariffs, meaning he's putting tariffs on countries at the same rate that they put them on us. These tariffs, these values of tariffs that other countries put on us are not actually tariffs that they put on imported goods. What the White House did, and they have admitted this, these figures are actually our trade deficit with another country divided by the imports. The source is right there. So I'm going to use an example to make this easier to understand because not everybody has hours in their day to figure out what's going on with American trade. The Trump administration has made the claim that Madagascar has a 93% tariff on American goods going into their country. But since we now know, and this has been confirmed by the White House, that that 93% number is really just our trade deficit divided by imports, that's not the case. So what's happening in Madagascar? Well, Madagascar is a huge exporter of vanilla and spices. So as the richest country in the world, we're going to buy a lot of vanilla and spices from Madagascar. Now, Madagascar also happens to be very poor. So what that means is that we are buying more from Madagascar than they are buying from us. That is called a trade deficit. And we're going to be in a lot of trade deficits with other countries, especially smaller ones, because we're the richest country in the world. So what the Trump administration just said is that they're putting tariffs on those countries simply because we are in a trade deficit with them. Because in order to get to that 93% number, they use the trade deficit divided by the imports. So the next time somebody says Trump is instituting reciprocal tariffs, just know these aren't actually reciprocal. Because the tariffs that he's claiming these other countries are charging us aren't even tariffs. They're just trade deficits. Tariffs are a fee that businesses pay to their country on imported goods from other countries. Tariffs have nothing to do with trade deficits. The real numbers can be seen here. So what's going to happen now that Trump instituted these tariffs? Well, everything's going to get more expensive for you. But the federal government's going to make more money because these tariffs that they're charging on American companies, well, it's pretty much just like a tax. And while the federal government is being greedy as it always is, what else do you think is going to happen? Do you think China is not going to approach those countries like Madagascar and say, hey, I know you just got ripped off by the United States, who you used to have really good relations with. Lean on us. Come to us. We're a reliable trading partner. So we're essentially ruining alliances and destroying America's position on the global stage because our federal
Because
government...
let's just be real with ourselves. Tariffs don't punish other countries like you think. They raise the cost of imported goods. And who are the people that end up footing the bills? You and I, right? The average American foots the bills. And what happens when tariff goes in place? The prices will go up on cars, electronic, clothes, groceries, basically everything that is imported. And American companies that they're trying to save, that rely on all these foreign materials, they will pay more and they will definitely raise their prices too. And when these other countries retaliate, the US exports get hit very hard, especially in agriculture, in manufacturing, okay? Because the bottom line still remains that although these tariffs sound tough, but they usually mean higher prices, fewer jobs, and these industries will be really stressed out. But it looks as if it's getting into play. So I'm asking, is this really economic liberation in quotes, or just a hike in tax to just disguise the whole thing? Because Trump says that it's about protecting America, but when these prices rise, exports will drop and these industries will suffer. Okay, so at this point, who exactly is being protected? Because I really don't know who at this point in time. Is this being economically smart, or is just politics? Guys, let me know in the comment section, who do these tariffs help and who do they hurt? Let me know what you think. I can't wait to hear from you. Thank you for listening. If you found value in this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in my next video. Please stay safe. Ciao.